Okay, so maybe, just maybe, we might be able to actually get past this freaking zone. We might not. At this point, I don't even know. Alright.
Yes.
Yes, I possess a draught that will break most forms of alchemically induced stupor. Side effects include confusion, nausea, and in a rare case, temporary blindness, all of which are much more preferable to what the Scourge plans to do to the prisoners in Deatholme. Best of luck. You're gonna need it.
Stay the course.
Keep your wits about you.
Whoop, that.
The eternal sun guides us.
If you seek to aid our cause, there's no better place to start than here, and no better time to do it than now. By rebuilding the Sanctum of the Sun, we've raised a banner of defiance in front of our enemy's seat of power, Deatholme. Go forth and fight the hordes of undead that inhabit the vile Scourge fortress.
Shorelaran, the reckoning is at
The
hand.
odious traitor, Darkhan, has risen to great power among the ranks of the Scourge. His lieutenants command vast armies of undead against our dwindling number. Massafet the Black, Jurian the Seer, Borgoth the Bloodletter, Mirrodin the Fallen. Learn these names well, for in Ghostlands these Scourge leaders are second only to Darkhan himself. Slay them, and their mindless armies will be thrown into disarray.
Farewell.
Okay. Let's go to the last bundle of quests, which is probably only going to take us like half an hour. But real quick, let's see. Talents. Let's see. As you can see, Eva, we're playing the best class in the game, which is Priest. We could get Holy Nova, but nobody would ever actually use that. Pretty much, Ganos. There's a... It would be more accurate to say that most of the Scourge are kind of being left to their own devices and deliberately kept uncoordinated, which is why you see so many individual groups with individual leaders of Scourge, like Darkhan here, or that one Lich that's in Razorfen Crawl, if you remember that. Or Razorfen Downs, excuse me. So each of them are all kind of doing their own thing for their own reasons. The Scourge as an entity won't actually attack until they're ready to provoke the Horde Alliance to come up to Northrend. And even then, it's not an attack to win. It's literally just, come on up. I don't really want any of these abilities. So, we'll just increase my healing by a little bit. Oh, we've also got a spell we can put over here. I actually don't know, Cashel, off the top of my head. I presume they were, but I don't know that for certainty. Grab that. Oh, and our first PvP talent, which we'll never look at again. Okay, cool. So the original Noxramas, aside from the obvious fact of just the developers wanted to include the Scourge as a major opponent in the game, but that's cheating. Narratively, Noxramas was just kind of hanging out down here. Let's call it getting ready for the Scourge invasion. So in lore, Noxramas was sent down here to kind of scout and prep and be ready to go. That then led to the actual Scourge invasion, which was the Wrath launch event. And then Noxramas was withdrawn, which they actually will reference during the events of the Death Knight Sorta Zone. Correct, Ganas. It actually roamed, which was funny. You could see the sucker just flying around out there. Hey, Shepard. Thank you for the sub, as always. Now let me get someplace relatively safe over here. We'll put that towards Horizon Forbidden West. Hatch within. Wow, midnight. So, final dungeon time. You remember how on the Blood Mist side we had that final charge up to the radiator coil or whatever it was called? Similar idea. Similar general concept here. Except this time it's a whole fortress area with its actual thing at the middle, which is our goal. And it's just better designed in general. In fact, while I have a lot of issues with Ghostlands, and to be clear, I do, I think its finale is a little bit better than the rest of it. This place was pretty full back when this was new, too, because a lot of players would get here and get stuck. Because this area is different in one distinct way from the other area, in that it's actually designed to be a group zone. Now, obviously, it's not really anymore. You're probably able to solo this without much of an issue. But when this came out, you probably wanted to have a group coming in here. And yeah, I remember the original Noxramas trailer. If I'm not mistaken, it was the very first in-gameplay trailer they ever did. Or in-gameplay cutscene. Something that would keep expanding on further and further and further until the point where now in-gameplay, or excuse me, I'm saying that wrong, in-engine cutscenes are the norm. Oh, I believe you, Peligious, now. So there's our mini-boss. There are several mini-bosses here. Yeah, no, if you ever watch the, the trailer for Noxramas, and then compare and contrast that to anything in War Within, where they have an in-engine cutscene, it is complete night and day. Like, it's shocking, the difference. One thing I do like that this story arc does very unintentionally, it helps to emphasize just how dangerous the Scourge are. We're fighting one random petty warlord with functionally one base to his name. One dude with one base and a bunch of low-level undead, and he is an existential threat to the Blood Elf people as a whole. Think about that. Exactly, Gnas. It actually, honestly, it kind of accomplishes both. Hi, Huthor. Oh, quick. Continuity sucks. Okay, there we go. We're good, we're good. Yeah, he does have a few advantages going for him. This is the base that we built back during the undead missions in Warcraft 3, in lore. Unfortunately, Evo has demanded that I bow. Turbo bow. Nose to keyboard, bow. Oh god, I'm stuck. Ah, help, help. Yeah. Okay. I'm okay, I'm okay. Whew. Alright. Where was I? Right. Bowing to Evo. More bow to Evo. Oh yeah, someone asked me about what a freight train class is. I think that was Lord Haremont. I don't think they're there anymore. No, 2 missions before that, Linnea Ruth. Here you go. Have a draught. Thank you. You're welcome. Get out of here. Let me write down Evo's thing really quick before I lose it, and then let me not forget all the things I just wanted to talk about. So, Pathfinder, Ra, Ugly Righteous, Landscape, Torment, Mass, Effect, Andromeda. If you demand that I bow, I might not bow. I'm just saying. I'm very Huthor about that. A freight train, so if you've ever seen a freight train in action, you know that it takes a while to get moving because momentum is a thing. And so it takes a lot of time and effort to slowly get that mass moving. But once a freight train is moving, it's just kind of it's just as hard to get to stop. So it's just going to run over whatever's in its way. So when it comes to class design, that refers to any kind of class where it's a really slow wind-up, but eventually it's just going to burn through whatever it's staring at. I would never Huthor. Alright, we know you believe you've followed the Huthoriisms. Shadow Priest isn't quite like that, but it's certainly leaning there. I did want to ask you something, though, Luthor. Well, I guess everyone, really. So, people were commenting on crafting being worth a damn right now. So I decided to look into it, because, I mean, if it's really worth it for getting end-game gear, yeah, sure, why not? Let's go ahead and look into it. I feel lied to. Y'all have lied to me. Now, I wanted to talk about that because one of the things we've talked about extensively is the philosophy when it comes to crafting. Like, what is crafting's purpose in gaming, right? What is the point of crafting existing in an MMO? And if you remember, I mentioned how one of the bigger points is you tend to pick a lane, right? Do you want to be heavily in focus on cosmetics or heavily in focus on gear? You can get mythic level gear from crafting by doing mythics. So, that's basically worthless to me. For lack of a better way to put that. Like, I don't even know what the point of that is. Which it brings me to my point. Like, if I have to go do high-end content to get the materials to gain the gear to do high-end content, carry the 2. This 3. Yeah, something's wrong somewhere there, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, exactly. Raid crafting needs raid mats. And I disagree with that. That's sort of the point I'm getting to. Like, I get the logic behind it, because it's like, oh, well, you don't want, people to get that outside of raids, and you want raids to be useful. But the problem is, it bakes this barrier into it. It's like, well, I know you wanted to get some better gear. Suppose no. There we go. But sucks to be you. Go do that high-end content. Well, I can't, because I'm not geared for it. Well, then it sucks to be you. Here's our problem. Like, it being a filler thing? Sure. But that's useless to me, to be quite honest with you. Like, I don't want to sound dismissive, but I was actually getting excited about the idea of, ooh, I could go ahead and I could just make this gear and it'll be awesome. But I can't. I was actually all set up, and I did a fairly large amount of rabbit hole diving last night. Basically, I was just going to get a pair of boots. That's all I was going to do. And when I finished the rabbit hole and figured out where the actual bottlenecks were on crafting, I was like, oh, I need those from... It's specifically a drop I need from Mythic 8+, of which you need 90 to get one item. And this is my point. I'm not here to complain. It's just more reason to not bother with crafting. But while that serves as a bad luck protection, frankly, I think that the currency system has and always will be a better bad luck protection system than that. It's a shame we haven't gone back to it since Pandaria. As an aside, I would love to talk with some dev somewhere and be like, hey, dev, why are you stupid? I mean, why have you walked away from the currency system for the last, 6 years? Like, surely there's some logic to it, but I've never heard it. It's just... Anyway, sorry, I'm in a bad mood right now. Forgive me. Point being, they used to have... So, I should explain what I'm talking about. Starting in BC, and then moving... Late BC, I should mention. And then moving into most expansion the forwards, there was a currency system. And the currency system was you'd fight a boss, and whether the boss dropped loot or not, it would always drop a currency, right? You get enough currency, you can buy a piece of gear. Now, that was a fantastic system. It was actually near perfect and perfectly solved one of the biggest problems I have always had with MMO loot, the randomness. Sure, it's nice to get a random, piece of loot every now and again. That's cool, and that's fun, and that's interesting. Or at least it can be. But you know what's not fun or cool or interesting? Doing a raid for months on end and never getting anything from it. So, yeah. So, I see the problem here, Blades of All. Now, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I could not find any way to purchase high-end gear. I would have to set up a crafting order to get high-end gear. crafting orders require you, the person putting in the order, to put in certain items. Some of those items are optional, but you still have to put in some of those items. That means you, the person putting in the crafting order, not the person crafting it, needs to be the one to actually have the items. Meaning you need to go do high-end raids to get someone else who is doing high-end raids to craft the item for you. Does that make sense? I'll admit, this actually did piss me off a little bit, because I was just like, what? Because I was planning to do more or less exactly what you described. And again, like I said, I was debating picking up crafting myself if it was really worthwhile to do. Spoilers, I have not picked up crafting. Now, I should mention Huthor is correct. There are ways to upgrade those items eventually. I haven't even reached that point yet. I don't know what those set points are. I just know that that system exists. Anyways, sorry. Getting back to the currency system. So the currency system was great for two big reasons. Number one, it enabled you to have bad luck protection with regards to, you know, going months on end without actually being able to get a piece of gear. And two, it was good for filling holes. You know, if you've gotten really, really good this, and that, but you have... Oh, Jesus, here we go. Let's see if we can pull one of these assholes without pulling the boss. Up here, boy. Up here, come on. There it comes, there it comes. Let's add a backpack. If you've been getting gear, but like you've never improved your boots, random example, having a currency system is a great method to be like, oh shoot, I need better boots. Plomp some currency down and get some boots. There you go. Boom, done. So it's like, it's kind of a double bad luck protection if you're thinking about it. Because it prevents you from getting no gear at all, and it helps you to fill holes in your... Damn it. In your loadout. Ooh, those hurt. Oh, those hurt. Oh, those hurt. Oh, those hurt. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Boss time. In the interest of total honesty, the value of the currency system varied based on the individual expansion, and in some cases, the individual patch. For example, the honor marks of BC were only useful in the very last patch with Sunwell. Okay, quest complete. Let's get out of here. And in Cataclysm, for example, they were pretty badly designed. Especially since they were pretty much mandatory for filling out some of your sets. It was a whole thing. So it depends. It depends on the specific expansion and patch and everything. But I stand by my statement. Like, nothing... Oh. Like, I don't think you could change my mind on this. The currency system is a great system, and I cannot believe they walked away from it. It's like, why would you do that? I mean, I know why they want you to do that. It's because if they get rid of the currency system, it makes you grind more, which makes you play longer, which makes them more money. But, you know, from the perspective of making a good game, I don't know why they would walk away from the currency system. Is that everything? That's everything. Nice. Rant off. Moving on. None of it matters. Moving on. Do you mind explaining how you think so, Huthor? I'm not challenging you, I'd like to hear it in your words. How often can raids be done? Once a week. Per character, obviously. Per lockout might be a better way to phrase that. No. So, it's not like FF14, whose system pisses me off, to be perfectly frank. So the way it works, it's actually complicated. Of course it's complicated. Alright, you're probably on the personal loot system. Let's just start with that. Is there even an option nowadays to raid off of personal loot? A real question. I don't actually remember. I did Amir Drasil at level, but, like, I don't remember what loot was because I wasn't there for loot. I was just there to have fun with the fights. Okay, so apparently if you have a full prefab, you can use something other than personal loot. Let's assume for a moment you're not doing that. Let's assume you're just doing personal loot. So every single boss fight, boss is dead. And you go to loot the boss, and it does a dice roll, determining what you get off of this person. There you go. And I knew that, Huthor. I can't even believe I forgot about that. Because I've done the raid that I can't think of the name of. That's current raid. So tired. Alright. When you fight the boss has a random roll of several pieces of loot. The specifics that determine what loot drops varies based on several factors that I'm not going to get into right now. If you somehow magically won the dice roll or just got every piece of loot off of that boss, you could get every piece of loot off of every single boss in an entire raid, you yourself individually. However, if you go to then try to group with someone else and kill that same boss, again, you can't, because that boss isn't there for you, because you've already killed that boss this week. Make sense? As for how much gear you get from a weekly raid, well, at one point in my life, I went 6 months without getting a single piece of gear. That's not a joke.
Baladash Malanore.
Thank you. Without your help, those prisoners would have lost their minds and souls to the Scourge.
Time is of the essence.
We will have
Darkon's
justice.
armies fall. The Scourge cannot stand a chance against the combined might of the Sindori and the Forsaken.
Remember the Sunwell.
It won't be long before their cursed citadel lies in ruins.
Shorel-Aran.
We will persevere.
Is done then? Has Darkon been destroyed?
Farewell.
Today you've dealt a deadly blow to the Scourge's grasp in the region. With the vile traitor gone, it shall not be long before we've reclaimed our land and our greatness restored once again.
Remember the sun.
This is the beginning of a new chapter in our history of our race. Our lands will be reclaimed and we will cement our bond with Sylvanas and her allies. Take the traitor's head to the Regent Lord. He'll be eager to hear the news.
We will have justice.
Inventory is full. Oh my god. Oh my god. Hang on.
I have many, many wares.
Just hang on. Just give me a second. Just give me a second. Oh yeah, I should also mention I am overall in favor of the vault. It's completely useless to me at this point. It's just cosmetic right now because I've long since outpaced the vault
Baladash Malanore.
in terms of item level. But it is a good concept, and I do like the vault. As I was saying, thank you, Pillars of Snow, for the frickin' portal. You know, I went to look for it recently, Trihexian. It wasn't there. Someone somewhere got rid of it. Oh, Priest Quest, which we're not doing. Anyways. So there's Lorthamar.
I proudly serve as Regent Lord.
You seek an audience? I don't recall hearing of an appointment.
What I do,
That's
I
a
do
face
for
I wasn't
Quel'Thalas.
expecting to see so soon. That is good news, in more ways than you can imagine.
Silvermoon will know prosperity again.
There were doubts among our capabilities amongst our potential new allies, of what use would we be to them when perceived as unable to really deal with our own problems at home, which is stupid and doesn't really fit in with the Horde in general, but let's ignore that for a second. This changes everything. No longer will our power be questioned. We'll be able to join the Horde as equals. Spoilers, the Blood Elves are not the equals of the rest of the Horde races at this point in time. Take this letter to Sylvanas, ruler of the Forsaken. She's already on our side, but the news of Darkon's death will be music to her ears. Prepare for a long trip. If all goes well, she'll send you to Orgrimmar.
Aldiel Shalar.
I'm curious how this is going to line up, actually. Oh, and we get to go down a tier our first time. So let's see here. First thing we want is... So we can pick between just a passive leech, in other words, every bit of damage we do heals us for a very small amount, or every 2 minutes we can do pop an ability, which makes it so that our single target shadow spells heal nearby allies, which of course can include us. We're going to take the live button, because of course we are. Could be enough. Probably. So, let's see where this sends us. I'm just going to disagree with that, Magister, and I'm not going to even argue it. I've argued too much today. I don't feel like it. No offense. I'm just going to disagree and move on. This is still writers who insist that they are right when they are not, and we're just kind of trapped in that era right now. Okay, it's loading. What the hell's happening here? Okay. So which era are we in? Good-ish sign. Whoa, that was weird. We're seeing green fog everywhere. That's a bad sign, but it doesn't seem to be affecting anything. There's also no NPCs. Okay, there's some NPCs. Guys. Yeah, it's still blighted, but it's fine, apparently. Yeah. One of my favorite things to do. This is not really a joke. It is demonstrably a negative, and I should give a negative for it. Which I will do in BFA. But, there's a thing where you can teleport in. And, you teleport into the actual teleport spot, which is in the Mage Quarter here, inside of the Undercity. And when you do so, you die. And there is no escape. There is no getting out of it in time. It just kills you. Now, that already sounds kind of like, huh? But hang on, it actually gets worse. Because surrounding your newly made corpse is probably about 100 or so other players' corpses as well. And yes, Fel does affect the mind. Wow, there she is. Hey, look, everyone, it's Sylvanas. Huh.
What joy is there in this curse? We are the Forsaken.
Ah, a visitor from Quel'Thalas.
Anyone who stands in our way.
What news do you bring?
I have no time for games.
It is done, then. The foul traitor got what he deserved. You did this yourself. An impressive feat that proves your race worthy. I see Lorthamar has additional news that will greatly improve his relations with the trolls and their chief.
What are we if not slaves to this torment?
So, here's what just happened in terms of narrative. When we came here, we came with a letter for Sylvanas from Lorthamar, and also a pendant. It was a necklace. In fact, it was Sylvanas' necklace from when she was still alive. When we talk to her and turn in the quest, she throws it on the ground in disgust, like, I don't need this stupid thing. And then, and I'm just going to quote the game directly here, Sylvanas looks at the discarded necklace. In her sadness, the lady incants a glamour which beckons forth highborn spirits. The chamber resonates with their ancient song about the Sindore, which is the song we just heard. And then at the very end, she says to herself, Belore. Sighing, Sylvanas kneels down and picks up the amulet. A little bit of character for her. That was the point of what was happening, other than just a song. So, thank you. We'll just know what I think. Yep, yeah. Yeah, back when Sylvanas had some layers to her. I mean, she's had layers to her at several points in her history. It's just, again, the writers can't make up their frickin' minds about her. Esteemed leaders of the Horde, it is with great pleasure that I, Lorthamar Theron, Regent Lord of Quel'Thalas, announce the fall of the Scourge Commander, known as Darkon Drathir. Darkon's foothold in our lands was brought up by critics of the Sindora race at numerous previous negotiations. We hope this event addresses any and all previous objections your graces might have harbored. P.S. Our Grand Magister has received word back from Outland regarding Thrall's question. The answer is, with great certainty, yes. Now, oh god, the Shadowlands is here. Look at that. Just right here. Holy crap. So, yeah, that's actually a great plot point I'll be bringing up later. But I've actually even already given a positive for that plot point. But it's some great internal continuity. You know how Thrall makes dumb decisions? Oh, wow. It's the council. There's no war chief here at all. That's fantastic. So the idea here is that Thrall makes terrible decisions for greatly personal reasons because he's a terrible leader. Good person, good warrior, very charismatic. He is a generally good aligned individual who wants to help people and do the best good he can. But he will also be the kind of person to be like, I will do everything in my power to accomplish the thing that matters to me personally, regardless of how good of an idea that is for the nation he is in charge of, right? So, the Blood Elves got a little bit of intel from the Sun Fury over in Outland. And that intel informed them that there are, in fact, orcs still living in Outland. Specific orcs. So they included that information into the report so we could take it to Thrall. And it's the reason why Thrall then decides to throw his weight behind getting the Blood Elves into the Horde.
What would you ask of me? May you die in battle against a hated enemy.
Your people have suffered a great betrayal by the Alliance. No, they didn't! You succeeded in fighting off the Darnassian attacks. What attacks? And the spies from Ironforge. What spies? Now you defeated a powerful Scourge leader. What? At the footsteps of your home. Your worthiness is no longer in question. It is clear now we need each other. Return to Lorthamar. Tell him I have heard his mission and accept. Welcome to the Horde, Elf.
Without honor, we have nothing.
Oh my god. Sorry, just wow. The best part is I'm not sure how much of that is inconsistent writing and how much of that is in-universe propaganda, because who knows? That would be a cool name, Pillars of Portals. Yeah, there were like hundreds of spies everywhere, and they were all doing nothing bad, and we murdered them all!
The rebuilding continues.
Your work here has helped advance our race's cause a tremendous deal. Brace yourself for great changes. We are now officially a part of the Horde.
The light of the Sunwell be with
And
you.
that's actually the end of that quest chain right there. Now, ironically, now I need to go back to Orgrimmar. Could I get a portal to Orgrimmar, please? Pillars of Portals. So, I'm going to give you a very, very, very truncated answer for who Sylvanas was. Sylvanas was one of the primary military leaders of the High Elves before she was killed by the Scourge, and then she was brought back up to be undead. She hates being undead. So to her, her status as an undeath is a curse. She decides to keep going on for one reason and one reason alone, to get revenge on the person who cursed her with undeath. It's the only thing she cares about. I'm going to go and give something away now. This is so severe of a monomaniac thing that when she succeeds at it, the first thing she does minutes later is commit suicide. We'll cover more about that later. Anyways, so that's who Sylvanas is. She has, through sheer force of personality and cult of personality, through sheer force of will, created a cult of personality around her, which is what the Forsaken primarily are. Sylvanas, like it or not, is the linchpin of the original Forsaken, because the Forsaken are all kinds of people. Rich and poor and young and old and left and right and up and down, and some people like pineapple on pizza, and some people like actual toppings on pizza. Like, all of these people, probably millions, we don't actually know real numbers because Warcraft doesn't keep track of it, but all of the people of the Northern Kingdoms who were left undead and sentient but lost, who have nothing in common with each other except for the fact that they are all now cursed and dead, or undead more accurately, rallied around the one thing they could make an identity of, the Dark Lady. So they all kind of follow her, and she doesn't give a crap about any of them. She's a figurehead, and she's manipulating and using them, And the Forsaken will, at some point, be able to move past her. But as of the moment at which this story is happening, she's the only thing most of the Forsaken have got. So, what's the significance of the song? Well, she died in a battle at a place. We went to that place, got an amulet she lost from that battle, and returned it to her. In her disgust, she threw it on the ground because she didn't want to be reminded of the life that she lost. And yet, after she sang the song, she couldn't bring herself to keep it, to have thrown it away, and she ended up keeping the amulet in the end. No, exactly, Primarch. The reason in lore why the undead took so long to split from Sylvanas is because she was all that was keeping most of them together. Frankly, I think Lillian and people like Lillian are better for the Forsaken than Sylvanas ever was, but that's because she actually respects them and treats them as if they are fellows. Lillian has wonderful insight at what it's like to be forced into being undead. She never asked for that on any level, and she hated it every minute of every second of it. So Lillian has something very, very important that the undead need. Empathy. Yes, she did, Uther. Lillian cares a great deal about other undead because she personally understands what they're going through. And so she goes out of their way to help them because, of course, she does. And thus Lillian kind of ends up helping a whole lot of other people as she goes down the line throughout the quests, because she showed up in Cata, and she's been present in every expansion since then, including the current one, I might add. She's still awesome as of War Within. So yeah, we see Lillian when she's raised from the dead. And up to now, like I said. So Blade Default says, how did I get all that from what I showed there? Okay, well the easy answer is because I've played Warcraft 3. But I don't even know how to answer that. Okay, let me try to explain, Blade. Hear me out a second. You've heard of Lord of the Rings, right? Just bear with me for a second. You've heard of Lord of the Rings. So if you see, just bear. I'm just going to make up a completely made up thing here. Imagine if you see Frodo walking down the road, and he's just doing his thing, kind of chatting, kind of talking, and he pauses, and he looks down to the side of the road, and this look of horror and dread just goes over his face, and he leans down, and he picks up a simple golden ring, and he looks at it, and you could just feel like he's struggling for air. He can barely breathe as he's looking at this thing. And then he rushes home, and he throws it into a fire, takes a few seconds, grabs his tong, pulls it out of the fire, looks at it, and there's nothing there. And he physically relaxes. Now, you understand everything I just explained to you, because you've seen Lord of the Rings. You understand the significance of the ring, how much it would cause of an impact on Frodo, why he would throw it into the fire, and why he would look at it immediately afterwards. All of that is stuff that's there. That's how I understand the significance of what happened with Sylvanas just now. Because the only thing we actually saw was Sylvanas is given her necklace. That is hers. We know that's hers. Looks at it, spits at it, throws it on the ground, hesitates, looks down at it, starts singing the song. Several of the Highborn, her fellow dead elves, join her in singing this song, which is a lament for the Sindorai. And then, after the song is done, resigned, she goes ahead and picks up the necklace again and holds on to it. I am officially at the point where I have nothing else to add to that, because that's it. That's the most literal recounting that's possible to give. Who's the current leader of the Forsaken? Not applicable. There is no single leader of the Forsaken, and frankly, there shouldn't be. I actually have the personal opinion. Yeah, by the way, Belmont's there. I have the personal opinion that the Forsaken should be really, really anti-king for like a while, as a direct consequence of the fallout from what Sylvanas did to them. Because they were so adherent to their god empress for so long, and that went really badly for all of them. And they should probably just kind of swing really hard the other way, you know? And yeah, as Huthor points out, they kind of are. Like, we've only gotten a few snippets of Forsaken politics in the last 2 expansions, but yeah, they're kind of leaning that way. I remember there was a quest where someone was asking if Kalia was going to seek the throne of the Forsaken, and she had to be like, no, 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 no. I'm just going to walk away from that. Even though Kalia is, by certain definitions, legally the Queen of Lordaeron. Anyways. Words. Alright, so. Let me look at something here. I hope they don't go full oligarchy, but at the very least, they should have some kind of democratic something. Yes, Kalia is definitely someone who could cause some issues down the line, if they wanted to. And it should be mentioned, the humans of this setting are very monarchy. Too much monarchy, if you know what I mean. Like, a lot of the races have been getting more and more progressive in terms of governmental style. The humans are still straight up totalitarian monarchy, like whatever that's called, the opposite of elected monarchy. They're tyrants. There's no, I don't have a better way to put that. And that can lead to some bad things. Hasn't yet. Hey, Ross. Absolute monarchy. That's the term. Thank you. Yeah, meanwhile, the dwarves are up to the point of having a council and a senate. That's as of Kata. The Night Elves arguably don't really have an organizational structure at this point. It could be argued the Night Elves don't have a polity at this point, which actually would fit them, if you think about it, really. The Gnomes are just kind of doing their own thing. They technically have a king, but really, he's kind of they have a meritocracy thing going on, and he can be replaced at any time. Well, it's also worth noting the dwarves are only very recently getting out of their whole thing. Because you're right, the Council of Three Hammers is a regency to Dagran. But, not to spoil too much, War Within has been going a little bit into drifting out of that. Lord knows Dagran himself clearly has no interest in the throne. And Moira, she's been chilling out a lot. So, I think that'll go in a good direction. Alright, so hang on. Looking at my notes. Give me just a second here. Dagran's a cool character. I like Dagran. I mean, name a bad character in War Within. If you say the grandmother kobold, you have no soul. I mean, Varian is a perfect example of why Stormwind's system is not a good one. Hell's bells. You know who's been in charge of Stormwind for the last 5 years? Greymane, the other human king. Okay. Sorry. I've got a lot of notes. Hang on. I hate getting caught in the weeds on this. No offense. It's just, it slows everything to a crawl. So I have to go Google one tiny little tidbit of info that I might be saying wrong. Hang on. Okay, no, you are correct. Torellian is the... What the hell was going on with Greymane? Because he had a whole thing about that. I mean, yeah, we did have the quest that was Dragonflight, I think, where we reclaimed Gilneas. Enjoy the ashes. Here we go. Okay, yeah, I could see. Yeah. I think you're right. I think you're right, Huthor. That's why I was getting them confused. Because, yeah, Turellian was the regent, which, by the way, makes even less sense if we're being completely honest. But it's better than Greymane. Yeah, Greymane was just keeping an eye on things with Anduin. That's why that was jumping into my head. And then, yeah, obviously, he ends up abdicating the throne to Tess. Queen, I guess. Tess Greymane. We'll see if they ever do anything with Gilneas. I'm not expecting much. They haven't touched Gilneas much since, honestly, Kata. So, we'll see. Alright. Uh-oh. Pokemon battle. Alright, I'm ready. Yeah, let me get a team going. No, it's a good team. Let's do it. If I can figure out how to do that. There we go. Pet battle. Let's do it. Cannot pet battle here. What? What? Oh, yeah. By the way, just so you know, the 1,000-year thing is going to be a negative. I honestly want to argue for 3 negatives for it because I hate it. I hate it so much. It's so dumb and unnecessary. Like, here, let me say a sentence really quick. I haven't seen my homeland in 30 years. Because I've spent the entirety of the last 30 years fighting a non-stop war against demons. Right? Sounds reasonable? Yeah, sounds understandable. Okay, cool. Now replace 30 with 1,000. Why can't I duel? Oh, there we go, there we go. Cannot pet battle here. Why? I just... Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna give up on it. Oh, okay, hang on. One more attempt. Oh my god. Okay, hop on. Oh, that's the wrong mount. Hang on. Hop on. You should be able to. There you go. Okay. Alright. Listen to Top Man. This Mega Man 3 is awesome. Alright, let's do this. I mean, again, 30 years it accomplishes all the things they want from it. That is a long freaking time to be fighting a war against demons and to be away from home and to be away from friends and family and all that stuff, right? Like, that is a huge chunk of time. Oh, I timed that wrong. Ah, well, whatever. How often do WoW expansions come out? Every 3 or 4 years, I want to say? You're talking about the fan mod, right, Loke? No, exactly, Huthor. That's why it's so egregious. Hey, it's been 1,000 years. Uh-huh. Does that mean anything? No. Love the Warcraft 2 music for these. That's funny. So, okay, I apparently don't know what you're talking about, Luke. Do you mind clarifying? Ugh, ugh. I mean, that's why they call them that. They're literally called the Uncrowned. Then again, that's probably a good sign for what Tess is probably going to do with them. Whoops, I actually did that wrong. Oh well. Oh. I mean, again, with no time dilation, it's been 30 years. I forget the exact number. It's been about 3 decades. That is not a small amount of time, right? Good fight. Yeah, the actual time is perfectly sufficient. It really is a pretty chonky amount of time from Warcraft 2 to the events of Legion. I think that is correct, Lord Aramont. I thought I had you too. I actually made a couple of mistakes, but I don't want to diminish your success. You totally got me. World War II didn't even last 10 years. Jesus Christ. Yeah, the glacier nuked my face off. That was crazy. Anyways, that was pet battles. Pet battles are actually really, really cool. I don't have much else to add to that. Okay. So let's do a little bit of filler stuff. Wait, we can't until Kata, can we? Never mind. Let's not... Oh, no, there is actually something we need to do really quick. Let me go to the correct hearth spot. The objectively correct hearth spot. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, now let's go to the objectively correct hearth spot.
Ah, I've been expecting you.
Come on. There we go. Position myself.
We shall meet again.
There we go. So, do you mind clarifying what embellishments are, Luthor? I think I know, but I'd rather just ask and presume I don't. Okay, this way. And down, I think. There's one last thing we have to review. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and call it early night. I'm so tired. And this, whatever this is just kicking my ass. Apparently it's not down here. So I apologize. We're going to have a very short second shift. The goal was to finish Ghostlands and then take a nap and then try to push into Hellfire. But apparently we're going to be doing Hellfire tomorrow. Where's Silvermoon? Oh, for God's sakes, it's right there. So, crafting only? Interesting. So, let's judge Silvermoon as a city. So, unique enchants. That makes sense. They've played with that idea a lot. First and foremost, obviously, visually, it's okay. I'm probably honestly not going to give any additional positives for it because we've already given a positive for Blood Elf and architecture. And to be perfectly frank, this city doesn't actually look that great. Not really. It's too tall. Everything is a little bit too big, and the textures are way too terrible. Like, it's a BC zone, right? It's a BC zone. That's ignoring the fact that you can't fly here. It's just... I'll write this later. Thank you, Wither. Yeah, it's just old. That's kind of all it is. And that's just sort of a problem. There's not much to be said about that. It's kind of old. You'll notice that because it has so few doodads. Like, if you look at the screen right here, we've got the guy in his cart with a couple of things of the same gun in front of it. Bush, tree, crates, another bush. That's it. There's just not a lot of doodad design. Oh yeah, by the way, I like this. These guys, you can follow them around. The ambassador here is heading around a Tauren, Forsaken, Troll, and Orc. And, yeah, I can't show off Mauru, unfortunately, because he's not here. Oh, yeah, sure, hang on. Here you go. Here you go. Wherever you are. I lost you. I don't have a range indicator on without add-ons. Oh, whatever. Anyways, so yeah, these guys are just roaming on. Occasionally they'll say something, honestly, pretty humorous, depending on which specific area they're at. They've got giant statues, you know. One thing I do think this does get across, and I will give them that, is it helps convey what the Blood Elves used to be. Emphasis on the past tense. You get the idea of these people who were at the peak of their civilization, who had just started to reach the stagnation point. And then they got the tar kicked out of them 3 times in a row. There they are. There's level 80, etc. So yeah, there's the band. It's kind of doing their thing up there. Wait, that's not level 80. That's the Tauren Chieftains. Who the hell are the Tauren Chieftains? But yeah, the doodads are lacking. Like here, this is a little bit cherry-picked, but look at this screenshot for a second. Look at how few doodads are on this screen right here. And this is a huge swath of space, too. Look at that. There's just not much here, right? Oh, there's one here. Here's the transmog. Sorry. Now, the trees are nice. I'm not trying to say it doesn't look good. It's just, this is why I think I've already given the positive for this place. And again, all of this is purely from the narrative perspective. That brings me to gameplay. We've got that kind of thing going on. We got the spires thing. Like I said, I do like Blood Elven architecture. It's just, I've already given that positive, you know? Also, so let's talk about gameplay. Because this is the layout of this stupid city. Everything is way too far away from everything else. And there's a lot of tiny, narrow, except actually gargantuan hallways, which are way too big. Again, it's very indicative of the kind of place that older towns used to be in a lot of video games. Nice, giant, empty pathways. Like just look at that road. It's just this giant, empty road with nothing in it. Because they always wanted to scale things up to make sure that it could accommodate the players and, most importantly, the camera. But as a result, you go through here and it's just like, okay. Here, it has been requested that I show off this other... But like you know, you enter over here. Oh yeah, that's another thing. The flight path is outside the city. Just like Exodar. And it's also bad for the same general reason. Suramar doesn't count, although Suramar is kind of the total opposite of this place. I like how there's this one patch of green, and this is where the Druid and the Shaman are. There's a giant statue of Kael'thas. They should probably tear that down at some point. Just saying. Here's the bazaar. This is where a lot of players would do actual stuff here. This was always a dead city. Most people didn't interact here, but I spent at least a little bit of time here because it was a dead city, so there was less lag here. Anyways, there's your auction house in the middle there. And this is the crafting area. Nice, gigantic, empty, devoid crafting area. But hang on. What if I want to go check out my trainer? Well, hang on. I'm a rogue, so give me a second. I'm just going to head over here. Just give me a second, Alright, I think it's up here. Actually, I don't remember specifically. Yep, here we go. Here's the rogues. And the poison. Yes. Yes, we'll poison them all. But again, notice how it's mostly just a big empty room. With a couple of trainers and there's some freaking mats on the ground. Like, this is it. You see what I mean? It's not super impressive. And again, gameplay-wise, it's irritating to navigate. Even this map isn't super indicative. You notice the road isn't always visible on this map. And it's not always clear what you can drive around on, and where, and how, and why. That's a good question, Huther. I have no idea. So, big, too long to cross. Everything is way too spread out from each other. If this sounds familiar, that's right. It's the Exodar 2.0! Give me a minute. You know, I know I've called the Exodar the worst town in the game. I take it back. I think Silvermoon is worse. Gameplay-wise. I think gameplay-wise, Silvermoon is worse. It's just irritating to both, not only to navigate, but just to get to where you're going. Maybe irritating is the wrong word. It's more boring. Because you're right, the, do I actually have the map? No. No. That's weird. Well, anyways. There we go. So this map is worse. It's irritating. Like, it's literally not indicative because of the height problem. This map, at least, is you can tell where you're going a little bit more, but it's also slow and boring to get around. So it's like, pick your poison, I guess. Anyways, let's talk to a guard and figure out where.
Anaria Shola.
Profession, tailoring.
We will have justice.
Yeah, exactly. One's dull, one's frustrating. I think I'm going to give both triple negatives, because, yikes. Oh yeah, they have their magical looms. The monoloom. Oh, the monoloom. That's why I spent so much time here. I actually forgot about this. And yeah, several people over the years have figured out ways to get in here and show off all the stuff you're not supposed to see. And you can see all kinds of stuff you're not supposed to see. Oh yeah, by the way, down here is the leper gnome laborers who actually keep the tailoring shop alive. Don't think too much about that. There's actually several leper gnome laborers down here. In the sweatshop. It's okay. There's a succubus keeping control of them. Some of them are in cages. I will give you that if you, once you kind of figure out the districts, for lack of a better way to put it, navigating Silvermoon is nowhere near that bad. Like, you got the craft area, you've got the empty hallways of death, you've got the other empty hallway of death, you've got the narrow hallway of death, you've got the main stuff, and then you've got the First Rider Square. And, like, that's each zone. Listen, slave labor is totally cool. At least that's what one of my YouTube commenters says periodically. I also like how they added tourists as soon as the Nightborn showed up, which amuses me in several reasons. Why would you come here? Two negatives. Done. +1. Alright, so. That's actually it. I don't have much else to add to Silvermoon. It is not a particularly good or well laid out city. In my opinion. Well, again, what do you value more? Irritation or boredom? Having said that, technically, I think they're both equal if you look at everything. Because I gave positives for, that, and I gave positives for Exodar for the same thing, and I gave negatives to both on the gameplay axis, so here we are. Yeah, Silvermoon is red and gold. Okay, so I showed that off, and I showed that off. Yeah, it's also very sun-themed. They're really big on the light, which is funny when you think about it. Music is obviously being rated separately. In fact, there's actually 3 separate categories of music. However, that's actually a good point. I don't think I've given any separate negatives to Silvermoon because it's just the Blood Elf music, but I have given pluses to the Blood Elf music. However, I have also given pluses to the Draenei music, because they're both good. God, flying is just... It's such a breath of fresh air after being stuck to the ground. Good news. With the death of Ghostlands, we're pretty much done with being clamped to the ground. We'll occasionally have to go back to being stuck to the ground. Oh, what am I doing? I'm doing the wrong thing. Yeah, I'll do that. We'll occasionally have to go back to being stuck to the ground. But for the most part, we're free from now on. Silvermoon does have a teleporter. Exodar is supposed to, but it doesn't, as you saw when we got there. I could show off XL's... What? XL's Reach was BFA, right? Remind me? Pretty sure it was... Oh. Okay, so yeah, we'll show that off in BFA. Was it Shadowlands? Here, let's look it up. All I know is that most people I know I've recommended not do Exile's Reach. Not that it's bad, it's just unnecessary for most people I recommend to this game, because those people know how to play MMOs. Yep, there it is, 9.0.1. You are correct, it was Shadowlands. Well, that'll be some positives to Shadowlands. Positives it desperately needs. Look, I'm sorry. BFA has its issues, but Shadowlands, oh my god. Okay. Tomorrow,